Did you know Kirby is in the top 10 Nintendo best-selling franchises? And that Kirby was first called Popopo, our beloved franchise, is turning 31 years old in April. And in this video, I'll tell you how it all started and talk about some interesting facts and curiosities about Kirby. So stay tuned to the end to not miss anything, and without any further ado, let's get started. Hey, what's going on guys? It's Tony here again and welcome to another video. The year was 1992. A development company called HAL Laboratories was working and it still works very closely with Nintendo. Its president at the time was Satoru Iwata. Yes, I'm sure you've heard his name before. He's the same guy who's the former president of Nintendo and the best they've had so far, in my opinion. Iwata challenged the rookie game designer and developer Masahiro Sakurai to create a new platforming game that was easy to pick up and enjoyable for gamers of all ages. But you would need to be unique and couldn't have the same characteristics as successful platforms like Mario and Sonic had. Masahiro is now another very well-known person in the industry and the guy behind games like Kid Icarus Uprising and Super Smash Bros. Sakurai said in an interview that he developed the game using a twin Famicom, a trackball input, something like this one, and an on-screen keyboard. At 20 years old and a beginner, he thought this was the best way to create a game. Can you imagine how crazy this is? For those who don't know, the Twin Famicom is a console released by Sharp in 1986 that comes with a built-in Japanese Famicom, or the Japanese NES, and a disk system. It's a must-have console if you're an NES or a Famicom collector. While developing the prototype, he created a blob-like character with two eyes and a smile as a placeholder for the game. Later, his colleagues grew so fond of it that they thought it was the perfect character for the game. Sakurai then just added arms and feet, shoes, and the main character was born. Kirby was not the first choice of name. Masahiro called it Popopo, and the game would be called Harukaze Popopo, something like Popopo of the Spring Breeze. That's a lot of Popopo in just one video. As of course they thought the game's name could have been better, they decided to call it Twinkle Popo. Not the best name also if you ask me. And they also knew that. Otherwise they wouldn't create a headline like this one. Look at this advertisement for 1992 when they were trying to pre-sell the game. It says, "Oboe yasui namae desho? Boku Popopo," which means, "Isn't my name easy to remember? I'm Popopo." Really? HAL Laboratory wanted to publish the game independently, but as there were not many pre-orders, they decided to reach out to Nintendo and ask them if they wanted to release the game. Of course they said yes. They knew there was something significant about that game, but certainly it was not the name. They began changing the leading character's name from Popopo to Kirby, which is more appealing to the Western public, and I couldn't agree more. The game was then titled Kirby's Dream Land in the West and Hoshino Kirby, or Kirby of the Stars, in Japan. Nintendo then asked their marketing people to advertise the game, and it went from a total flop to a huge success, thanks to Nintendo's marketing help. And of course, because the game is fantastic. The first Kirby game was released almost 31 years ago, on April 27, 1992. And the game sold more than 5.1 million copies all over the world, making it the second most sold Kirby game in history, and it's only behind Kirby and the Forgotten Land from last year. For 30 years, it was the best-selling game in the franchise. And since its debut, the cute little pink puffball has appeared in nearly 40 games, including its own titles, collections, spin-offs, or appearances in other games. Now, a little more about the first game. Kirby's Dream Land is a side-scrolling action platforming game set in a fictional land called Dreamland. King Dedede came down from Mount Dedede with his minions one night and stole all the food and sparkling stars from Dreamland. Your goal is to defeat King Dedede and return all the food and the sparkling stars to Dreamland. It was not in this game that Kirby's cop ability made its debut. The cop ability that is so unique was first introduced in the 1993 NES game Kirby's Adventure. Kirby is Nintendo's 8th best-selling franchise of all time, having sold more than 43 million units in total and being ahead of great franchises like Yoshi, Metroid, Fire Emblem, and others. So that's it for the story behind Kirby. On February 24th, Nintendo is releasing another game in the series. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is a remake of the classic game for the Wii, and I'm sure it will sell a ton. Why? Because Kirby is a lot of fun and a game to sit back and relax while playing. Now let's talk about some curiosities. Take a closer look at the Western and Japanese covers. Why is Kirby white on the American and European covers and pink on the Japanese one? Sakurai has always imagined Kirby being pink, but they should have mentioned that to their Western colleagues. As the Game Boy is a monochromatic console, they simply didn't know what color to put on it, so they went for white. Even Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda and many other iconic franchises, didn't want it to be pink, he wanted it to be yellow. But as you can see, Sakurai was right to keep it pink. It's so cute and is even more appealing to the kids like that. But later, he added the yellow Kirby as a second player. There's a myth behind the origin of the name Kirby, and there are two main versions of how they came up with the name. The first version is that they chose it because of an attorney who represented Nintendo in many cases called John Kirby. One of those cases happened in 1984 when Universal Studios sued Nintendo claiming that Donkey Kong was an illegal use of the main character from the movie King Kong. John Kirby won the case for Nintendo, and as a big thank you, Nintendo gave John a $30,000 sailboat baptized Donkey Kong and exclusive worldwide rights to use the name in sailboats. Unfortunately, John passed away in 2019 at 79 years old. The second version is that they named it because of a vacuum cleaner manufacturer called Kirby. It makes sense because what Kirby's main power is? Exactly, it sucks pretty much everything from enemies to the weirdest stuff in the game, just like vacuum cleaners. But Shigeru Miyamoto said in an interview that as long as the name is partially connected to John Kirby, the character was not named after him. He said they had a list of possible names, and as they were going through it, they saw Kirby as one of the options and thought it would be funny if they had any connection. Another interesting fact is about the name Hall. According to Iwata, it was named after IBM. Looking closely, each letter in Hall precedes a letter in IBM, and it was intentionally done. Satoru said that this way, each letter puts them ahead of IBM. That was clever. Well, that was it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you like this type of video, and I'll do more of them. I love to research the history of video games. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. Also, don't forget to turn on the notifications so you don't miss any new videos. I'm posting new videos every week. Click on this video to know more about the best PS5 games that will be released this year. I hope you guys have a great week. God bless you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.